And we are back once again. Scott Cole, Nick Mazzetsko in the building. And, well, today, Nick, we're going to be breaking down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You didn't want to go down to the NFC South, but we're headed down there. It's like the previews, right? I mean, you're waiting for Top Gun to show up. We got to show you some of the other things that, maybe you want to see, maybe you not want to see before we get to basically the AFC West and NFC East. That'll be the kind of divisions that kind of close it down at the end. Some of those top teams as we get closer. I don't think we're going to stick with like breaking down each division every week, but I think we'll get to a point where we start focusing in on maybe some of the favorites, right, Nick?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I mean, the AFC West is going to be buck wild and bonkers when we start looking at that. I mean, legit. When we get to the West, there's three Super Bowl contenders in that team. Like there are three guys there are three teams there that if they won the Super Bowl, I think everybody would go, oh, okay, yeah, good for them. Like they made some great moves in the offseason.
The interesting thing is that when we get to that division, is it going to be like the SEC where like they're beat up? You know what I mean? Like you get beat up by the time you get there because you go through a tough strength of schedule, I'm
not looking forward to doing the schedule game in that division because I'm going to have to remember which teams I have beating the other teams in the division. That's going to be wild.
You're going to have 9-8, 9-8, 8-9, 8-9.
Right. It's pretty bad.
All right, let's talk about the Fighting Tom Brady's. We'll be previewing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next. All right, Nick, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Are you looking back at last season? I mean, 13-4. I mean, most franchises are going to be pretty happy with winning the division and not only double-digit wins, but getting to 13.
Yeah, I mean, again, it is the perpetual double standard. When you sit there and go, most teams would be happy. Well, this isn't most teams. It's a Tom Brady-led team, and Bucs fans have learned over the last 3 years to expect big things, just like Patriots fans expected. When Tom Brady was there, they expected a Super Bowl, and here's the thing. They had a great season. They had 2 losses that they probably would like back. They didn't beat the New Orleans Saints at all last year, which continues to boggle my mind because they lost 9-0 in a game that I believe Taysom Hill was starting. Remember, this is a Saints team that didn't have Jameis Winston at any point last year. They were starting some combination of Taysom Hill and sadness. But listen, they won a lot of games last year. They were able to take the division again because they were just far and away the best team. They get to the playoffs. They get a great game to kick off the playoffs, a game against a Philadelphia Eagles team that played sort of above its weight class because they were in that NFC East. They took care of business. And then they ran into the team that they lost to in Week 3 in the Los Angeles Rams, the eventual Super Bowl champions. And it was a great game, a 3-point game in the divisional round. But, Scott, the Rams were really good. They won the Super Bowl for a reason. That was a top-tier team, and these Bucs, I'm not saying the Bucs aren't a top-tier team, but it is interesting to watch their roster construction of basically Tom Brady and Tom Brady's friends and seeing what they can do. And it turns out he's got friends who are really good at football.
Yeah, and really top. We'll get to it in a moment, but they've lost some pieces, right? They got some holes in the roster that they're going to have to fill here. By the way, if you're watching live here on Tuesday, we're also out there on our podcast that releases right after the show on Tuesday, so you can take it on the road or anywhere you want to go. Appreciate everybody out there on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch. Yeah, what up, LinkedIn? Twitch, Twitter, and out on Facebook. So I appreciate all you guys tuning in. If you're wondering Deshaun Watson news, yeah, we might be having to go back and kind of look at the Browns and all that. Maybe we'll do a special report on, the Deshaun Watson's decisions and how long that's going to take and all that kind of stuff. But today we're going to focus on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's talk about their draft. That's always like the way we like to start. How'd you feel about this year's draft for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
I don't know if I've ever felt so about a draft in my life, Scott. This draft was fine. Not a ton of capital, obviously. This is a team
that punter is amazing.
Big leg. Let me just say that. Obviously just not a ton of picks for this is a team that's when you have a guy like Tom Brady, when you're bringing in the talent around Tom Brady. You're not building through the draft.
He doesn't care about rookies.
No, he doesn't want to. He thinks about them like his kids. He doesn't want to look at them. He doesn't want to babysit them. Okay. They didn't have a first round pick. They end up taking with the 33rd pick, their first pick in the second round. They take Logan Hall out of Houston. Nice D lineman. Going to play on the end. Actually, I think probably a steal for them at the top of the second round. He's somebody who was a first round grade. I think their best pick was that second round pick. They actually traded up for to get Luke Gedeke. I think he's going to be, especially with them losing some pieces on the offensive line. No more.
Yeah, if he can start, I mean, if he can have a good training camp, come through the mini camp, all that kind of stuff, and improve. I mean, certainly you're going to have a Tom Brady yelling at you. That'll either motivate you or decimate you. But yeah, I go back. Yeah, just an okay draft. So
yeah, I mean, we didn't have a lot.
No impact players, but maybe you talked about some pieces that they filled on both lines.
Yeah, I look at them. You look through it. I don't know. I don't see this 6th round pick could obviously turn into something. This is something to build for. No, it's a lot of pieces. They took 2 tight ends because obviously they're down a tight end now, and we'll get to that in a second. But I think Gedeke is probably their best pick. This is a guy who the offensive line draft in this past draft was so all over the place. There were everybody could have gone at as high as 15 overall or 10 overall. There were a lot of good, especially Gedeke on the interior of the offensive line to replace a guy like Ali Marpet. I mean, this could be their guard of the future. Obviously, this is a guy who played in the MAC at Central Michigan. MAC offensive linemen, Scott, dice roll. Some of them have been great. Some of them have been MAC offensive linemen and picked at number 1 or 2 overall. They got him in the second round. That feels like a steal to me.
So let's talk about the offense. Brady comes back. That's huge, right? Because one of our first shows we ever did, we were talking about quarterbacks in the league, quarterbacks to be drafted, all that kind of stuff. We were really concerned about the Buccaneers. Who were they going to get through free agency? Here comes back Tom Brady, 45 years old, 22 years in the league. I don't know if this is the last dance. Who knows? I mean, you've seen some kickers, go this deep. But he's one of the oldest players to ever play in the NFL, let alone start. Leonard Fournette, back with the squad, really tips his cap to Bruce Arians of getting his life together and getting his, elevating his gameplay. But Bruce Arians moves to the front office, and what's this offense and defense going to be like? Let's start with the offense.
Yeah, let's talk about the quarterback position because really the only quarterback I care about is Kyle Trask. I think he's going to be the starter. He's going to beat out Tom Brady.
He's athletic, 6'5", highly coachable,
good hands,
good motor,
great locker room presence. Obviously this is an offense that goes as Tom Brady goes, but they bring back a lot of the key pieces. They bring back Chris Godwin, franchise tag him. They bring back Mike Evans, obviously. They actually bring in, I think, sort of an underrated move is bringing in Russell Gage, who had a really nice season last year for the Atlanta Falcons, a team
LSU,
that had
LSU wideouts.
Listen, LSU wideouts, and this was a Falcons team that had no offensive line. Matt Ryan was running for his life most of the time, and Calvin Ridley they lost in the early parts of the year. So Russell Gage was the number 1 for most of that year, and performed admirably as somebody who plays a lot of DFS. He got me lots of daily fantasy points for not a whole lot of money spent on the daily scene. So I'm excited to see him. Obviously, the tight end position, Rob Gronkowski.
They lose Gronk and they lose Howard, and they replace him with when you go to the store and you want Lucky Charms, but you get Irish marshmallow oats or something.
You get very fortunate luck emblems. It's nice.
Yeah. They replace them. One of the draft picks was so you lose OJ Howard, but you get JJ Howland. You know what I mean? It's It's close. Cameron Brate's going to have a huge weight on his shoulders this year because Brady loves to go the tight end.
Yeah, and Brady has always had good chemistry with Brady. I mean, let's not forget this tight end room has never been healthy. They never had all 3 of those guys. So Cam Brate was the most healthy of the 3. He was probably the most available while Gronk and OJ Howard were there. OJ Howard missed multiple games, and Gronk had back issues, especially during the pandemic year. So Cam Brady has that chemistry. The question is, Tom Brady likes a lot of 2 tight end sets. Who's going to be that second one?
They got 3 rookie tight ends on the
Yeah.
roster. I talked about the fake O.J. Howard, J.J. Howland. Out of
And
Yale. You got to be a smart guy. So you could have Ivy League bookends, right? You got Cameron Brate from Harvard. You could have J.J. Howland from Yale. But you got to be a lot more than just smart.
yeah. And, this team, the interesting part is going to be this offensive line lost Ali Marpet, who was one of their leaders in the locker room. I mean, this is an offensive line that's going to look different. You still got Tristan Wirfs, who, remember, they took last year in the draft, played very well. They got Shaq Mason at guard. They've obviously got Luke Gedeke is going to get some time coming in. But, Ryan Jensen at center, he's the big leader. But will that team be able to pick up for the loss of, a guy who was the quarterback of that line, was that locker room presence?
Yeah.
It will be interesting because Tom Brady, I don't know if you knew this, Scott. Tom Brady, not the most mobile quarterback out there. I mean, we're not looking at a Lamar Jackson.
I thought he had a high motor. Very
high
coachable.
motor, quiet feet, good hands, 40 speed, looking.
He will pick up one at least 10-plus yard gain.
Yes. And he will look like every time he scrambles, Scott, he looks like that dad that got sent into the grocery store to go pick up one thing and his kids are waiting in the car. He's just like, Lord, hold on. Just need to get milk. Okay, let's go. That's how he looks every time he scrambles.
I used to love the Peyton Manning when they would run that naked bootleg down on the goal line. And he's just like,
big forehead. Hold on.
What do you think about this defense? Because they're in the NFC is kind of starting to hang their hat a little bit on defense.
Yeah, and the Bucs defense is very good. And let's remember last year they had a good defense, and we're missing Vita Vea for a good portion of the year. That is the guy who I just think makes this offense go. He is a run-stopping D tackle that also gets after the quarterback and has surprising speed for somebody who's roughly 7 foot 900 pounds. Vita Vea is a beast. I love Will Golston and Akeem Hicks on the outside. Their linebackers, listen, Devin White, Levante David. That's all you need. Speed and guys who can cover in the secondary at the linebacker position.
Yep.
You add in Shaq Barrett also on the outside, who is somebody who can rush the quarterback and drop back. They might have the best linebacking core in football. That's how good that linebacking core is. You go to the secondary, not as big of a fan of the secondary as I do other pieces. Obviously, you got Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis are sort of their 1-2 corners. Carlton Davis, I think, is really good. Jamel Dean, I think, is also a football player.
I think Dean is good, and in the secondary, the Florida native, the former Gator, Kenny O'Neal is going to be back there, which he's kind of like he's destined for like a big season. He needs to have a big season.
I mean, this was somebody. I mean, I'm sure you remember when the Falcons had Keanu Neal in his prime. I mean, this was a guy who everybody talked about moving his way into the top 5 of safeties. Sort of on the back.
He's only been in the league for 6 years. I mean, he's a first-round pick in 2016.
It's the injuries. I mean, he tore his ACL one year. That year that I think the entire Falcon defense died. I remember because I took them in my franchise league. I was the Falcons, and I would watch them, and I'd go, where are all the players that were on this defense in Madden? And they were all dead. Like, literally, it was like 4 torn ACLs and a torn Achilles. And I was like, what happened? What did you guys do? I mean, Antoine Winfield is still a really, really good back-end corner. I like Logan Ryan. The depth, I'm not sure at cornerback. Sean Murphy-Bunting is somebody that had some problems in coverage last year, missed a little bit of time. And they've also got Ross Cockrell out there, former Pittsburgh Steelers, somebody who brings a lot of the physicals, but hasn't really put it together as a guy who you can count on, can sort of play that nickel role. I don't love that secondary as much, Scott, but when you have a linebacking core like they do, I think that covers so much. They're going to run a ton of zone. They don't like to match up man-to-man. They want to put Shaq Barrett, Levante David, Devin White. They want to drop them into coverage and play a lot of that, like Tampa 2. It's called Tampa 2 for a reason.
Well, they're going to have to do something because we're about to play the win-loss game and go through their season here. They face a lot of teams that like to throw the football. So we're going to see Tom Brady get to play Aaron Rodgers. Mm-hmm. We're going to get to see him play Patrick Mahomes. So, I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to put it out there. I don't want to tell you, Goose's son's in the movie. All right. Here we go.
Hello.
September 11th, one of the featured games of the opening week of week 1, they travel to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
What do you got in that one? That's an interesting start to the season here.
Interesting, tough way to start. They started on Sunday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. This is a game that I still think, I don't care what anybody says, it's a toss-up. It is a road game in Dallas, first week of the year. You just never know what they're going to look like.
Can they block Parsons?
Can they block Parsons? Can they, not throw it to Trayvon Diggs? Tom Brady only throws it 5 yards, so I don't know.
Yep.
I got Tampa with a win. Listen, the one thing that concerns me, you and I both, I think we're both Dak Prescott fans. I think Dak Prescott is a good quarterback.
Good dude,
I'm not 100%
good quarterback.
Sure who's he throwing to, though? Michael Gallup. Like, again, I'm a Browns fan who really likes that we got Amari Cooper for 4 sandwiches and a high five, but I'm not sure who they throw it to. I'm not sure what the Cowboys have in Zeke Elliott. I'm not sure if he is a top-tier running back anymore. I'm not sure what – they have a good defense, but their offense I have question marks about. And listen, I might put them at 17-0. I don't bet against Tom Brady. And if the Cowboys –
But they could also start the season 0-4.
100%. And here's the thing. If there's one knock on the Dallas Cowboys have always been knocked for not closing out seasons well.
Not closing out games for sure.
Week 1, the Cowboys are good. Like, the Cowboys might be one of the best early season guys. They always look like the best. This is a toss-up game. I'm going to give it to Tom Brady. I just think that offense coming back with most of the pieces. I think it's going to be interesting watching Cam Brate. But, I'm excited for sort of 2 offenses that run through their running backs. I think both of these teams are going to want to run the ball.
Could be a low-scoring game.
It's going to
could be 21-17, something like that.
And by the way, let's not forget, no longer is Bruce Arians the offensive mastermind, the evil genius calling plays. Todd Bowles, who, well, he definitely was good with the Jets for one entire year, and then was the Jets coach for one entire year. I mean, lots of 5-win teams.
He's got a little bit better roster.
Yeah, I mean,
the cards he's been dealt is a lot better than what he had up at. Let's just say it, New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, he's been with Tampa, so that Tom and Todd Bowles have a lot of chemistry already. I mean, this is somebody who has been on the staff. It's not like they brought in somebody new, but it's going to be fun to watch Todd Bowles have to coach against the greatest coach of all time in Mike McCarthy. Dude's a legend.
I still can't believe that Sean Payton's not the head coach of these Dallas Cowboys. Speaking of Sean Payton, so we got Tom Brady. I'll just call the Buccaneers Tom Brady from around that. Sure. So we got Tom Brady going 1-0, but they go to New Orleans. Yeah. I don't even think they go back home to Tampa Bay. I bet they just transition down to New Orleans for a long week. And every time we talk about these Saints, we have no idea what to tell you because
God, I want to stop talking about them.
Winston can put up 4 touchdowns. He's got a great receiving core. They got a lot of talent. I think we just do not talk about Kamara enough. Sure, when you're talking about fantasy football, you're like, oh, yeah, Kamara. But the dude is like, do it all. He's probably the best all-around back in the league.
The Bucs are going to win this game. Let's remember, this is a Bucs team that lost to them twice last year. I think that's going to be playing in Tom Brady's head. But let's not forget the big news, and we're going to talk about this. The Saints are going to probably be without Alvin Kamara for 6 games to start the season. Yeah. Facing a suspension from the league. Yep. Without Alvin Kamara, there's a lot of unknowns out there for this New Orleans Saints team. Obviously, they bring in a rookie wide receiver in Chris Olave. Maybe Michael Thomas is back. I don't really know what's going on with Michael Thomas. He might be there. There's just too many unknowns for me to go, yeah, the Bucs are going to lose to the Saints or even put this as a toss-up game. I think Brady's going to go out there and put a hurting on this team, especially with no Alvin Kamara. When the defense doesn't have to worry about Kamara at that point, their offense is in trouble.
All right, so 2-0, according to Nick Mazesco. I think they're probably 1-1 at that point. Either the Cowboys or Saints get them. They start off at home, though. 3-game homestand On September 25th, it's Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. Must-watch football.
Yep. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I got Tom Brady. I got him at 3-0, and there's one reason. Listen, I love Aaron Rodgers. I think Aaron Rodgers, okay, love's a strong word. I like watching Aaron Rodgers play. I think he is
Me
fun
too.
to watch. I think
And
he's
I'm a Bears
great
fan.
quarterback. I think he is the most talented passer we may have ever seen. That's how good his talent is.
Yep.
And his wide receivers right now are the two guys sitting on this podcast. I don't know who he's throwing to.
I'm open.
I'm here. Pass the rock.
I want to be along the sideline, short hitches on the sideline where I can just catch it and kind of go out of bounds. I don't want to take any hits.
No. Baby out routes. I mean, I'm looking at literally the Packers depth chart right now, and their top wide receiver is Allen Lazard, which makes everybody sad.
Could have a big fantasy year, by the way.
Big fantasy year. They get 3 teams to start the year that I don't know who they're throwing the ball to. Like, I don't know how they got that schedule, but that is the thing. 3 teams with good to great quarterbacks and Jameis Winston, and 3 wide receiving cores that my shrug emoji goes up as to who they're throwing to. I like Aaron Rodgers. I think they're a good team. I don't think they go into Tampa. Their first home game,
I think they
by
lose
the way,
this one by at least 10.
September 25th, their first home game. So you know that crowd's going to be rocking down in Raymond James. Give me the Bucs all day.
Especially if they're 2-0. If they're 2-0, like you said, and you got them going 3-0 now. I think they're 2-1 at this point. So here comes Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
The talented Kansas City Chiefs.
Like another team that I don't know who they're throwing to. Like, I don't really know what's going on with this team. This game is as coin flippy as coin flips get. And let me look. I gotta look at Kansas City's schedule to see what they faced early in the season. At Arizona, home against the Chargers. They come off a game against Indy, which is going to be a brutal game. You play Indy, you feel that game forever. Because
that's a tough start.
You.
Chargers, Colts, Buccaneers, Raiders, Bills.
Ooh.
And I'll throw they face the 49ers in week 7. I mean, that there's a lot of physical teams in there.
Yeah. This is
But they have Patrick Mahomes.
They do have Patrick Mahomes. And here's the thing. This is going to be a game that is predicated on how well what this new look Kansas City receiving core. Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, 2 guys who have not been number 1 receivers. They've not been good as number 1 receivers. Can they find it with Pat Mahomes? No Tyreek Hill. I just don't see the Chiefs going into Tampa and beating Tom Brady and the Bucs. I got them at 4-0. Could they be 3-0, 3-1? Yes.
They could be 2-2. They could be 0-4.
Scott, I hate all these receiving cores. These are all bad wide receiving cores.
The Saints is the best receiving core they've faced so far.
And they got the bad quarterback. They got the Jameis Winston experience. The other 3 have great quarterbacks and bad receiving cores. I just don't see them going.
So you got them at 4-0.
If this game was in Arrowhead, I don't know if the Bucs win this game. But I think they get the benefit of getting Kansas City and Green Bay at home. Obviously, this could change. They could go out and sign a wide receiver. Antonio Brown could be back. Who knows? But I just don't see either of these teams being able to put up enough points to keep up with this Bucs team, especially with the defense the Bucs are throwing out there.
So you just made them 8-0 because they have the Falcons, Steelers, Panthers, Ravens.
Yeah, they're winning all those games, Scott. They're winning all those games. They're not. Atlanta's bad. They're starting Marcus Mariota. Pittsburgh is bad. They're starting.
Who knows?
Mitch Trubisky.
The 3-headed monster.
Carolina is bad. They don't have a single quarterback on their team that I would want to start for my team, and I have an awful quarterback and an awful human being.
Ravens game, we talked about on the other podcast, could be a trap game.
It's a trap game, but
with the Rams coming up next.
With the Rams coming up next on Thursday Night Football, that is the first game that I sit there and I go, they got a real shot to lose this game. But you and I have talked. We don't think the Baltimore Ravens are that good. Another team, who are they throwing the ball to? Devin Duvernay.
Where are the receivers in the league?
Well, they're all on LA. I don't know what to tell you. And this game is at home. I got them beating the Ravens too. Listen, this is an 8-0 team. Could they be 7-1? Obviously, it's the NFL. Any given Sunday, they could drop any one of these games. I think their best chance to lose their games are at Dallas week 1 and home against Green Bay week 3. I think those are your 2 best options, and Kansas City week 4. That first 4-game stretch, they could be 0-4, 4-0, some mix in between.
I
Who
want to
knows
see
who's
a
getting
team
into?
pick up Antonio Brown and Terrell Owens. I want them both on the same team.
Yeah, I don't. But that stretch, they get Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Carolina, Baltimore. Pittsburgh, again, is one of those games. They're at Heinz Field that game. That's never fun to go to. I just think there's far
They
too
have
much talent.
such an. I mean, we're racking up the wins here for the Buccaneers, but their road games, and we'll talk about it at the end. They have some just kind of cakewalk road games.
I mean, let's be clear. The divisions that they're playing the AFC North, which is 2 good teams, 2 we don't really know teams, 2
Yep.
bad teams. I don't think they're bad. I think they are very mediocre teams. And then what they play the NFC
West.
and that is a really good team and a lot of unknowns. I mean, they got a beneficial schedule. I mean, I don't those first 4 games are going to determine
A
how
lot
the
of
season
questionable
goes.
quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Beside
A lot
Matt
of questionable
Stafford.
wide receivers. Apparently, none of them are on these teams.
So let's talk about it. Week 9.
Yeah.
They got a little, they play the Ravens, so they got some time to heal up. Sunday,
12 days.
yeah, Buccaneers, Rams, and it's at Tampa, which I think is a key point in this pivotal matchup for them, to kind of a barometer test. Will they be 8-0? Probably not. 7-1, 6-2. We'll talk about the Rams when we get to them. As far as the way we see their season going on their Super Bowl defending run. Who you got here in Week 9?
This is a fun game. I'm really excited for this one. Let's start there. Rams are going to be coming off of their bye week 7, week 8. They are at home against San Francisco. So not too beat up, I don't think. This is not going to be a team that's going to be reeling. I got the Rams winning this game, and I think there are 2 big reasons for this one. I know it's a home game, but there are 2 big reasons for this. First of all, the Bucs did not beat the Rams at all last year and were pretty handled by them in the regular season. The playoff game was a great game. I just don't know how they match up with the wide receiving core that the Rams have. I don't know how
They're not going to be able to block the Rams, first of all.
block Aaron Donald. He's still playing, right? Like, we haven't gotten any news.
No.
He
He signed an extension. He's playing.
Yeah, so he's still playing. So Aaron Donald's still there. I'm not sure they can block him. I think the biggest thing, though, that plays into this, though, is the fact that their bye week's not till week 11. This team is obviously going to be beat up a little bit. They've got a bunch of tough games out there, teams that play them tough. They're playing in week 9. I know it's a home game, but I got the Rams in this one. I got them by a touchdown. I think the Rams are, in the top 3 most talented teams out there. I think this is going to be a fun game, though. I'm excited to watch this linebacking core try to cover the Cooper Kupp show that, I'm excited to see if Cooper Kupp can follow up what was an amazing year.
I don't know if he will have to, because if they can stay healthy at the wideout position, I think the Rams are going to be fine, and there's going to be a little bit more distribution.
No Robert Woods, I think, will be interesting to watch with this Rams team, because that was the guy that kind of made this offense go. He was had such great chemistry. He ran those tough routes. You're going to be out there with Cooper Kupp. Now, Allen Robinson out there is going to be fun to see.
Get Cam Akers back.
Cam Akers back, who I'm a big fan of. I loved Cam Akers at Florida State, and I'm really excited to see him. And the one who I'm really excited to see is Van Jefferson. I think Van Jefferson came up with some big catches last year when Odell went down, came with some big catches when Robert Woods went down. It's a tough receiving core. And again, don't forget, Tyler Higbee may be playing his way into the conversation as a top 10 tight end. Like, that is a guy who plays very well. It will be fun to watch the Matt Stafford show, but I got the Rams winning this game in Tampa. Sorry, guys, you're getting your first loss.
I don't disagree. So you got him at 8-1, which, if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan sitting there going, we'll take 8-1.
Yeah.
With our first 9 games having the Cowboys, Packers, Chiefs, and Rams in there, and then a bunch of physical teams, I think you'll take 8-1 all day long. Mm-hmm. I think they're more like a 7-2 at this point.
Yeah, they probably.
That's the realistic thing. But
I just don't know. I don't want to put my hat on this is the team they're definitely going to lose. I don't know. I think Dallas, in my opinion, Dallas is their best bet. I think a road game to start off the year is just a tough way to start.
Yeah, they could lose that opener.
100%. But also Michael Gallup.
I just think between the Cowboys, Saints, Packers, Chiefs start, they're going to lose one game in there.
So they're going to drop one
This is gonna
somewhere.
happen.
Yes. It is one. If you gave me the odds of will they start out 4-0 or will they drop a game, I'm betting on they will drop a game.
Yeah.
I just don't. I'm not putting $100 on each team and being like they're going to lose to them. Like I don't know.
Week 10. You got them at 8-1. They face the Seattle Seahawks, the Fighting Drew Locks.
Yep, and they're in Munich, the Germany game, a 7:30 a.m. start in Munich, and the Seattle Seahawks suck. Like, this is a bad team. If they're playing any sort of human team, I think this is a toss-up game. But Drew Lock's not a real quarterback, and no one can tell me that he is. Sorry, Seahawks fans. Trade for Baker Mayfield.
What if they have Baker Mayfield? Let's throw a what if out there. What if they have Baker on the Seahawks team?
This is a toss-up game because you got DK Metcalf out there. You still got Tyler Lockett, who I think continues to be
decent
criminally
defense.
Underrated. They have 342 running backs. I'm not sure which one is starting, but it's one of them. Their defense is a little bit of a question mark, but the fact that it is in Germany is what makes. I mean, again, everybody's gonna have to do the international travel. It's tough. There's a lot of jet lag going that way, and they're coming off of a late game at home against LA the week before, and so they are technically a shorter week. If somebody other than Drew Lock is starting, I put this as a toss-up game.
But you got them at 9-1. They finally get a bye week. Which is rightfully so, going to Germany. Then they face your Cleveland Browns week 12. It's in Cleveland.
Yep. Yeah. It's a toss-up game to me because the teams that Tom Brady has traditionally struggled with are guys with great pass rushes. And Myles Garrett's still really good. Like, he's still out there. They brought back Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, this is a good defense and a good secondary that can hang with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Problem is, I don't believe Deshaun Watson's going to be playing this game. We did the schedule game with the Browns and said 8 games, and everything I'm hearing is it's going to be more. So if it is the Jacoby Brissett
could be
show,
a year, could be 2, could be forever.
Ever. Yeah. I got to take the Bucs this one in Cleveland. I would love to take the Browns. I think it is a tough game in Cleveland in November, by the way. That weather is going to be awful. That weather is going to be bad. As a former season ticket holder of the Cleveland Browns, I didn't go to November games. I went to September games and then sold my tickets.
Hey, maybe they'll build a dome. They're talking about it.
I would love that. Tell me this. They looked at Detroit. They went, Detroit went over there. They built a dome. That was a smart move in cold weather.
Yeah, they want to build something kind of like Minnesota, I think.
Yeah, what are we doing? But listen, if Deshaun Watson plays, I think when we did the schedule game, I took the Browns in this game. I think with Deshaun Watson.
If Watson's playing, they win.
I think they win the game with Jacoby Brissett, the Bucs, and it's probably a touchdown game. I think the defense keeps it in, but I just don't see Jacoby Brissett beating Tom Brady. If he does, I'm sorry, Jacoby, come on our podcast.
Now we get to the rematches. Monday Night Football. So are you saying they're 10-1?
Yeah.
All right, 10-1, and they're
probably
facing New Orleans
9-2,
Saints.
But there's just not a lot of losable games here, and they get the benefit of playing Kansas City and Green Bay at home. If either one of those are road games, they're losing that game. But they get the benefit of playing them at home. Like,
we'll talk about the road schedule just being cupcake.
Yo, they legit. Roger Goodell went to Tom Brady's house and went, "Where would you like to play all these games?" Tell me, I got you, man.
What do you got? I mean, I think at some point they split here with the Saints, right? I mean, that's kind of what they do.
Here's the thing. I think the Saints. This is in my opinion a toss-up game as well. I think both Saints games are toss-up games. This is a team that the Bucs have had trouble beating. Even last year when they had Taysom Hill. So
if you got them toss-up, you got to be going with the split then, right?
I think they do split. I think they're more likely to lose week 2 than they are to lose this one at home on Monday Night Football. And that place is going to be electric.
Do you want to revisit week 2 then?
But no. I don't know enough.
So you got them 11-1.
Scott, I don't know enough about somebody. Hey, Saints fans. Hey, let me look at.
Dude, Jameis Winston's going to be the MVP of the league. That's what you need to know.
Saints fans. Send me an email. Shoot me on Twitter. Nick Mazesco on Twitter. It's literally right there. It's right there. Send me a message. Who's on your offense? Listen, here's the thing. This is their more likely game to win, Scott, because they will probably have Alvin Kamara. They're not going to have him week 2. Week 2, he is going to be suspended, and that Saints team They cannot beat the Bucs without Kamara. I think a split with Kamara is much more likely. Without him, are you really? I can't pick the Saints going into Raymond James on Monday Night Football with big-time Tom Brady and beating them. It's going to be a close game, and they have a good shot to win it and flip a coin a little bit, but I got the Bucs winning this game by at least 7 because I'm not sure who they're going to pass to in that game, and they're not winning week 2 without Kamara.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
if they had Kamara,
I've forgotten
week 2, I would take him.
About this, the Kamara suspension we talked about in week 2, and for the Saints, as we're going to try to break them down next week, right after July 4th. By the way,
it's a little bit getting overshadowed by the Deshaun Watson stuff, but that's a big loss for a Saints team that I think had a really good
best
shot
player.
He's their best player by far, and had a legit playoff aspiration. This is a team that could go out and win a wild card game. Like Jameis Winston gives them that chance, but without Alvin Kamara, that's brutal. I mean, he's still a top. I still have him as a top 3 back. We can do our tier list at some point of running backs. I think Alvin Kamara is still a top 3 back, and I think that's how good he is. I think it's him.
In fantasy, he's all the way up. I can tell you
he's a beast, but I think it's him, Jonathan Taylor, and
Taylor's a beast.
I'm not offended by who you pick as your third one. I think it's Derrick Henry right now, but if you said somebody like, I think Dalvin Cook is when healthy. I think Dalvin Cook's really good.
Yeah,
I think he's a top 3 back when he's healthy.
He's shifty to say the least.
Ooh, he's tough.
So going into San Francisco, with
Who's
1, 2, 3, 4,
Francisco?
5. Who knows? Who knows?
Know.
Why do you draft a quarterback anyway?
I want to give Tom Brady losses, but I don't know who's on these teams. I think it's Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance is starting these games. I think Jimmy Garoppolo will be gone at some point.
Yeah, then it's a dub.
It's a dub.
Here's
Trey
the other
Lance
thing.
sucks.
I'm going to throw this out here. This could be Tom Brady's last season.
Yeah.
We might say that for the next 10 years.
Yeah, true. He's 50.
Final game, and you talked about maybe he talked to Roger Goodell. Longtime 49ers fan, always wanted to play for the 49ers, never happened. This is the swan song game for Brady. He throws for like 400-something yards, like 4 or 5 touchdowns. A little walk-off from the crowd, like one of those kind of games. So they're sitting at 12-1. And they're 13-4 a year ago, but you got them at 12-1.
Right here, at Nate Mazesco, 49ers fans. Tell me why you think Trey Lance is any good. I think he's dog water. I think he's bad. I think I've seen him play. He's not very good.
Dual threat quarterbacks just ain't it, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
And college is amazing.
Debo is cool. Brandon Ayuk sucks. Sorry. Kyle Shanahan has his work cut out for him. If he can win that game, he's a god.
They have a good defense. It is a home game, but I think you're right. Biggest game of the year. December 18th. Oh, surprise, surprise. It's a home game against one of the best teams in the league. Cincinnati Bengals in December. They don't have to go to Cincinnati. They get to host them.
Scott, they got Cincinnati, the Rams, the Packers, and the Chiefs all at home.
This is the best home ticket schedule you can see. First of all, you're going to see them win a lot of games, right? Because Falcons, Panthers, Ravens. This is when the road stops. This is when the madness stops, Nick. They have to go up against the Bengals.
Again, it's a coin toss game because it's Tom Brady, and all games are. There's never a game where Tom Brady's not going to be in it.
And it's at home.
Bengals on the road with, I think we'll be in a division fight with somebody. It's probably Cleveland, maybe. I don't know. We might have no wins because Jacoby Brissett's our quarterback. I'm getting sadder as the day goes. But I think
we talked about Browns being a 6-win team if they don't have Watson. So
yeah.
Anyway, I got Bengals by 3.
I think this comes down to a field goal. I think Evan McPherson is going to be the MVP of this game. I am excited to see what this Bengals defense. Let's not forget this Bengals defense played, I think, above its weight class last year. This is not.
But they added some good pieces.
They did, and that's where. And plus, you add in the draft. I think the Bengals can win this game. I think they do win this game on the road. And Tom Brady looks up at Roger Goodell and says, "Can we switch some more games to home games? Because this was unbelievable."
So they're 12-2. 3 games remaining. Cardinals, Panthers, Falcons.
They win 2 of those 3.
If not all of them.
They might win all
of them. The Cardinals are another interesting,
Cardinals
team.
on the road is a very interesting game. Yeah. Again, This is a team that has a quarterback situation that is a little dicey. Kyler kind of unhappy.
And is Brady playing against the Falcons? Like, you get to those kind of things. Like, if you got this record that we're talking about, is that last game of the year one of the ones you drop?
I think they are dropping one of those games.
Yeah.
I think there's a good shot it's week 18. Tom is not playing that game, and nor are there any of their receivers. And I just don't know
if they have this. I mean, they're going to have a.
We'll
talk about the Saints next week, but they'll. If we're talking about this record, they're going to have a huge division lead. The only reason you play in week 18 if you're trying to maybe top the Rams for the number 1 seed or something like that.
I mean, again, I just don't know if Blaine Gabbert, Russell Gage, Rashad Perriman, and Cyril Grayson are going to have enough offensive firepower to beat Marcus Mariota and the Falcons. I think that Arizona game week 16 is very interesting.
I think Buccaneers will be favored.
I do too.
But they're in the red zone, the Red Sea. Anything could happen.
Rise up, Red Sea. I think the Buccaneers probably win that game. I will say this. I was more confident in the Bucs winning that game with Bruce Arians. That is a coaching battle between Tom Bowles and Cliff Kingsbury. One of the worst game callers I have ever seen. And I think that's why the Bucs probably win that game. But I think they do.
He's got a lot of women fans.
Yeah, they're not. I don't think, barring if they have locked up the number 1 seed by week 17, Tom Brady's going to play week 17. They're going to beat the pants off Carolina because they're bad. Sorry, user. I love you, man. One great user out there. Your team's bad.
They're bad.
Atlanta, I think, is probably their weirdest game just because who knows who's going to play.
Who knows who's playing?
They're going to drop one of these. If I had to hang my hat on one of them, it's Arizona. Cardinals. It's a road game going east to west. That is tough. It's end of the season. Coming off the Cincinnati game is a dogfight. I think Arizona.
You got them 14-3.
I think so. That's probably.
What's the ceiling? Did you just pick the ceiling?
I think their ceiling's 15-2. Their ceiling is they have 2 games that I haven't losses at with Los Angeles and Cincinnati. They could win either of those games. They really could. I don't think they win both of them. I don't think they go above that. I think 15 wins is their ceiling. I think they're definitely going to drop.
What's the basement?
11? Maybe 10? I think 11, though.
So 11, 6 losses. So Cowboys, Chiefs,
Packers, Chiefs,
Rams, Bengals.
Browns.
Okay.
Or 49ers. Browns or 49ers.
Yeah, one of those physical games. I mean, Ravens, we still talk about it.
Yeah.
Ravens could pop them on Thursday night.
100%. If that game was on there, seriously, they got the Ravens at home too. Like, get your season tickets right now for the Bucs. You get every good game that is possibly created.
Yeah, every tough game, their toughest road games at Dallas to start the season.
Yeah. Their road schedule past that. New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Carolina, Cleveland, San Francisco, Arizona, Atlanta. There's a lot of mediocrity.
We'll throw that out there that we did mention that Cleveland, November 27th, outdoors at Cleveland.
It's going to be gross.
For a Tampa team.
It's going to be gross.
Ain't good. Ain't good.
Yeah,
but
they're double-digit wins, and they're winning this division.
It's a sweet schedule.
Is there anybody in this division? Like, New Orleans is the second best team in this division. Is there any world?
But even if New Orleans beat them twice, they don't win the division. Because Tampa still wins the division, even if New Orleans beat them twice.
I mean, and again, we're going to talk about them, but, let's point out, they start off with Alvin Kamara out for 6 games. I don't know if they're going to win a lot of those games. We'll go do the win-loss game with them, but that is going to kill this Saints team. I think the Bucs win this division. I think the playoffs are going to be fun. I foresee a rematch with the Rams at some point, and that's going to be their 4th game against the Rams in 2 years, and they're 0-3 against them.
Yeah, a little preview for next week, day after July 4th. Yeah. New Orleans is going to start the season 3-3, 2-4. Like, just a little preview of how it's going to go down for New Orleans when we get to them. Pretty sweet schedule for Tampa. We think they win the NFC South. I think they'd run away with it, to be honest. I don't discount that maybe the Saints can pull it together and be like a wild card team. That would probably be the Saints' ceiling in the division. And then Falcons and Panthers, good grief, y'all. Like, and I'm from the area, right? I lived on the I-85 for a long time. Those teams are bad. Those teams are really bad.
Again, we played the schedule game with the Ravens, and we finished off and went, well, maybe they're not as bad as we think they are. They got a nice schedule, and they're actually pretty decent. We're gonna get to talk about some 4-3 win teams with the Falcons and the Panthers. Sorry, guys, it's not gonna be fun.
Everybody have a safe and happy 4th of July.
Happy birthday, America.
Yeah, we need some positivity in America right now, so I can tell you that. Everybody be safe. Everybody be good. We'll be back next week. No politics on the show. None.
Stop it.
We'll see you with the Saints next week. Congratulations, Buccaneers. You're going, maybe?
You're going to Disney World.
You're going to Disney World. All right, that works for me.